Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Hopsin album, Pound Syndrome.
In what?
What?
What he hapsin?
What?
In what?
What?
What he hapsin?
What?
In what he hapsin?
He Hopsin, yes. He Hopsin.
He hapsin what?
This is the latest full-length record from funk volume artist Hopsin, who has been a pretty polarizing figure in the hip-hop community for the past couple of years. With his Eminem-inspired lyrical style, his music videos, which have a really kind of kooky, cartoony style to them, as well as his very confrontational bars. Lyrics where he comes off incredibly critical of the music industry, of rappers, of complacent and lazy music fans and listeners. Even people who are close to Hopsin, friends and family, when they don't sort of live up to his own moral expectations. And on his own tracks, he comes off, sometimes, sort of judgmental, sort of preachy, which doesn't marry all that well with his childish personality, which is weird to think that he has, because I'm like the same age as him. It's not really that surprising to see that over the past couple years, a lot of these criticisms have been thrown right back into his face by music fans who sort of see his point of view as maybe a little off base, or maybe think that some of the points he tries to make in his music are a little cringeworthy. However, though, he is still followed by some pretty passionate fans who think that Hopsin is sort of like this really fantastic bullshit detector in the hip-hop industry right now. He is calling out labels and artists and just listeners and everybody on their crap. These fans find his songs relatable, they find them inspiring, motivational, and in one breath, I appreciate that Hopsin is the kind of artist who tries to lift the wool from our eyes and just let us see the light and let us see things for how they really are. But in another breath, I kind of feel like the observations he makes in his music are so painfully obvious that they're not observant at all. And often his short-sighted solution to the problems that are ailing the world is to basically agree with whatever he is pushing forward, or just think whatever he's thinking. Then the world would have a million Hopsins, and that's exactly what we need. And usually I'm pretty lukewarm on his instrumental choices as well, but all that aside, I think Hopsin is a passionate artist. I think he can rap, I think he can write, and I respect that, and that is why I decided to give this latest record over here, his follow-up to his last album, Knock Madness, which I did not like at all, a shot. And I don't know, despite references on this record to Hopsin kind of half-assing his last record a little bit, and he didn't really know what he was rapping for, and just, I guess, the really headstrong mentality that this album comes through with right at the start, like Hopsin's really gonna like give it to us this time. This is the Hopsin we've been waiting for. Despite all that build-up, I think that he's only come through with like a slightly, just an ever so slightly better Knock Madness this time around. Still the same sort of delivery, personality, point of view, and a lot of just miraculously painful moments too. Though there are tracks on this record that I like. I like the song Fort Collins, which is a story track about this moment during the Knock Madness tour when the fame and the pressure were really just barreling down on Hopsin, and he decided to just completely skip out on this live show. And I love how they incorporate Dizzy right on this track, where he sort of comes in to tell his side of the story, which I thought was really smart and a great artistic move. And even though the song Crown Me came through with some pretty lowbrow punchlines, I thought the hook was catchy. Give me that crown! And the speedy flow on this track was pretty impressive too. I think sometimes Hopsin's passion and his abilities occasionally come together in a really great way and captivate me, even if just for a short while on this project. And that's about it for highlights for me on this record. Going deeper into the album, we have some cuts that I think are not really that great, aren't really that terrible, they're merely passable, like the intro cut, like the song Forever Ill or the song Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones and me. I wish it was actually that song. I wish. A bunch of tracks where Hopsin is just generally braggadocious and is focusing on his rap skills, his flow skills, and is just kind of focusing on rap music and his career as a rapper. But once he starts delving into philosophically deeper topics, that's when this record really starts to fall apart. And this is just like a laundry list of tracks. The song No Hope, where essentially Hopsin is coming onto this track, and this song is just like a bitter fuck you to everybody who didn't help him early on, and now that he's successful, are coming out to just sort of look for a handout. And while I do sort of understand his position, I understand his point of view on this track, he comes off so nasty and unhappy to the point where it doesn't really seem like he's enjoying his victory. And even though these people didn't really help him early on, and he is successful now, he still hates them for not helping him, even though he's now in a position where he is benefiting from his talents. And it just seems like he's still angry at these people for no reason. So Hopsin uses this track to lecture these people, and he invites the audience in on this lecture, like, hey, come here, look at this, I'm telling all these people how crap they were when I was trying to get my hip-hop mogul shit going. We have the song Mind of Hopsin 7, which doesn't have one of the worst instrumentals on the record, but lyrically, this song is like just a religious temper tantrum. He hates religion, he loves religion, religion is hypocritical, religion is this, religion is that, blah, 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 blah. Listening to this song is like listening to somebody talk who started a YouTube channel yesterday because they just found out what atheism is. The song My Love is maybe the hardest I've had to pay attention to a love song in a long time. And Hopsin's sung bars on this track are really just not pleasurable, not even for a second. The song FV Till I Die is essentially like this banger anthem to Hopsin's come up with this Funk Volume label, which he helped found. And if you're not invested in Hopsin's personal story or in Funk Volume as a label, then you're probably not going to care about this track. I know I don't. Certainly since it has one of the weakest hooks on the entire record, which is just super distant, super drenched in reverb, it might as well not even be there. And the song Ramona is indicative to the, I don't know, either the hatred or fear that Hopsin has of women, which was pretty clear from his last record, where he essentially spends the entire song just propping up this effigy of a crazy, sex-crazed groupie so he can just kind of knock it down. And then we have the song Fly, where Hopsin delivers easily some of his most cringe-worthy nuggets of wisdom on the entire record. And what's funny is that the very end of this track features this like long, ugly, just completely unlistenable vocal bridge, which sounds like it's just a combination of being pitch shifted and auto-tuned, and it just is terrible. It's a terrible vocal, like nothing good about the way this... It's like listening to auto-tuned dying animals. And this part of this song, now you have to think about this. This part of this song is something that Hopsin actually tried to do. He worked on this. Meanwhile, the skit on this record, No Words, is essentially a moment where he's kind of just, jerking off, saying that anybody can do this, like, young thug shit, this future shit. These guys are retarded, and there's not even words in their songs. I can do this shit. Let me show you. And he does it. He does perform in the way that Young Thug and in the way that Future does on this skit. And this is the song he wasn't trying on. This is the song he was fooling around on. And musically and just, I don't know, aesthetically, it's more enjoyable than Fly. It's more enjoyable than half the songs on this record that he tried on. So your joke song is better than most of your real songs on your album here. That's not good. Not a good look. Not a good look. And the song I Just Can't is a banger. It's the closer track on this record, and it's hard-hitting. It's not really a bad tune, but I just think it's a really fitting title, because by the end of the record, I Just Can't is actually a really appropriate description of how I feel. I didn't like Hopsin's last record, didn't like Raw, don't like this album either. But I think it's on this album something finally clicked. It just clicked to me what is going on with me and Hopsin, where sort of the disconnect is. And I think Hopsin has a ton of ability, when it comes to taking a subject matter and lyrically being able to stretch it out for the duration of an entire song, just really being able to focus on a topic. He also has a ton of flow, and I think he has taste when it comes to structuring a song too. He knows that a song needs to have its respective parts. I think he is all ability and no taste. He has no taste whatsoever. This record is in very bad taste, not only in how it sounds, but also in the faux philosophical points it tries to make on nearly every track here, which goes to show you ability is nothing if you don't have taste. Because, you can have all the reach that you want. You can have all the reach, all the ability, all the reach that you want. You can hone those skills until you have more reach than anybody else. But if you don't have grasp of anything, if you don't have taste, then all you're going to grab for when you reach is tastelessness, is just not enjoyableness. I'm feeling a light to decent 3 on this record. Transition. Have you given this record a listen? If you have, what did you think of it? Did it enlighten you? Did it blow your mind? Did it enlighten you to all these facts of the world? Did it tell you some real fucking shit? And, basically teach you that the man who invented college didn't go to college? Did you hear that shit? Let me know. Anthony Fantano, Hopsin, forever.